Oh, that's why did I so. Taba ku dirile host. Ko kgopela o. Can you please give me the host and Dela?
How do I do it? Oh, I change it here. There.
Mara, you're also admin Women for Jesus.
You are host, my darling. I have hosted you.
Okay, I need to pause the recording.
Oh, getting everyone, all the speakers. I mean, you had a lot of speakers interacting with everyone. How are you feeling about that right now?
I mean, I'm excited that, God's will was complete through the engagements that we had. But at the same time, there's a sense of relief. I'm just like, Lord, I'm so happy that we moved at the pace of obedience. That for me, like, surpasses any plan, anything we would have ever dreamt of having. So, yeah, I'm feeling relieved. At the same time, I don't know. There's just a feeling of transition. We've just been in a transitionary state since this month actually began. We just felt like God is moving us to a different phase altogether. So I'm just in that headspace of relief, and then I'm also thinking, oh Lord, what's next? What do you expect of me? How can we do things differently? What does the next 10 years hold for us? So yeah, it's a complicated feeling, but I'm trusting God the same way we trusted God to be with us through this past month, and to open the hearts of people to receive what the speakers had for us, and also just to, allow the speakers to actually agree to speak, because that's one of the challenges, when you start off in the beginning phase of whatever organization you have. There's just that eagerness, and people just want to be part of it, and everyone just want to participate and give themselves off in terms of time and money. But then as you grow and the 5 years go by, and then the relationships are not the same anymore, people don't really feel the need to quote and unquote support what you have. It gets to a phase where it's about whether they believe in the vision or not. And it stops being about the person behind the vision. So we've just been blessed to have speakers who were just as excited to be part of this journey and avail themselves. No one canceled. No one had connectivity problems to, an extreme extent. Everyone was just speaking the heart of God. The pairings were good as well, because we were very attentive to God in terms of how to design the program, who to pay, which hosts to have, and and everything just worked out seamlessly. So I'm very excited about the feedback we got, and also how the conference turned out.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. 10 lessons you've learned.
10.
It's been 10 years, bruh. Like 10
No.
lessons. You have to give us 10 lessons, 10 lessons. You can mix, you can steal from the speakers during the weeks, you can do whatever,
No.
but we want 10 lessons for everyone watching. What have you learned? What could you have done better? What, are you grateful for? We need those lessons. Give us 10 lessons, Miguel.
10.
Yes.
Okay. First things first, be obedient to the voice of God. Second, don't compromise. Third, be willing to adjust your methods, but keep the goal the same. Fourth, get a strong team behind you who just doesn't support you with resources, but with prayer. Fifth, get a team who are attentive to the voice of God. Sixth, be willing to change your plans and move as God instructs you. Seventh, don't be stuck on a vision in your head of what the ministry is supposed to be. Eighth, actually, is from you. That's very important. The ninth one is that the family of believers were a community. So let's work together with men as well. That's something I learned from the men. Work together with men to actually fulfill the dream of God for humanity. And the last one, just start. Just start. Even if it's just a small step, even if it's just a plan, even if it's whatever you have, whatever God has put in your hands, use it. You'll be accountable one day to how well you used the resources that God has given you. So just that is, it's very, very important. Deborah, you know, we started this with zero budget, zero money in the bank account, nothing, zero. And we were just moving at the pace of obedience, and that really liberated us. And I think also God poured out a grace and really equipped us with ways of being creative. Things like the app, things like Zoom, things like the YouTube catch-up channel, the graphics. Those were not things that we had to pop out money for. It was literally being resourceful with what God has placed in our hands. And God has blessed the work of our hands, not just in that, remember what I said in the beginning of the conference, not just in numbers, because numbers don't mean souls. So for us, it was a question of people really hearing what God is saying in this season. So just start, work with what you have, be attentive to the voice of God, collaborate. I cannot emphasize that enough. Collaborate and make the dream of God for humanity known to the world.
Amen. I love those 10 lessons. I think you should do a whole session on those 10 lessons. Ne? Yes. I'm gonna put you to that. And I'm gonna put you on the spot. I know you don't like talking about yourself, but you know what? Hey, it's Women for Jesus, and we're celebrating you as we're celebrating 10 years. So you have a website, lebogang.tisane.co.za. Yeah, and I mean, it's part of what you do, even with the merch for Women for Jesus. You're all about e-commerce. It's something that you're really good at. Tell us more about that. How can people reach out? How do you help NPOs? Tell us all about that. We're giving you 5 minutes.
Okay. So I have my website called Women for, well, Women for Jesus, lebogang.tisane.co.za. That website is to assist NPOs, companies that want assistance with starting their online business. I also write, I MC, I speak. So it's a way for just to move away from using God's work to profit me in the same sort of like compartmentalizing. So I want to be able to have that identity separate from Women for Jesus. So that when it's Women for Jesus, it's Women for Jesus. We work with what God has given us. And then when it's my personal things, I'm able to do that as well. So it's lebogang.tisane.co.za. You can book me. I'm still learning to, you know, when God has placed you in a place of what's the word, social development, all you want to do is just help people, you know, sell everything that you have, give people your money. Oh, it's okay. Oh, but so I'm just learning to monetize the gifts that God has given me, and to be able to have a separate identity from Women for Jesus. So I work in the e-commerce fraternity, so I'm very familiar with that. So I'm just learning the entrepreneurial route away from social development. It's hard because, you know, even some of my clients, I'm just like, no, but it's an NPO for babies. Let's just do it for free. It's fine when I'm let me just, you know, I'm still learning how to navigate that world. But yeah, people can book me there. I also assist. So if you are a sister ministry, okay, if you're a sister ministry, so if you are in something that has to do with women, we can help you. I don't know how we're gonna go about the rates, but I think we will work something out. I'm just finding my feet there. But yeah, social development is something I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about e-commerce as well, project management, digital marketing. So people can reach me through that platform.
So Bana ba Morena, it's not free mahala. There is a rate, all right? But baka go zamanyana le wena if go sa hlakane, all right? I'm just saying. But also, let's just learn to support each other and support everyone's, the endeavors that people take on. And let's not abuse each other as children of God, and let's empower each other rather. So even with a platform like Lebogang Tisane has, let's support her and, let's not make her bank empty, but let's pour into that and support that part of what she does. So the girls, so next month is Women's Month, and when you decided to make the conference in July, what can happen? What is happening next year?
We are tired. The team is
Next
tired.
month.
It's been 10 years. we we've decided as a team. It was hard hosting the conference in July, well, in line with our anniversary month and then considering Women's Month. But we have decided that as a team, since we've used the whole July month to just celebrate women for Jesus, let's let other kids flourish as well. Let's support them. We have resources available as well within Women for Jesus. If you'd like to advertise, if you'd like to come through and, whatever you need as a sister ministry, come through and we'll work something out. So we are not doing anything for Women's Month. We'll just be supporting, sharing posts of other women who'll be celebrating. I know it's going to be a very busy month, and we're just also navigating the space of having events go virtual. This was a trial and error for us, so we can take some of the lessons that we've learned and share with other women as well. So RD Selo, but we are willing and able to assist if another church or ministry or organization is having an event during that time. And even for our speakers, we'll be keeping you updated with regards to what they're doing for Women's Month. So it's a no from us. We're not doing anything, but we are excited to see what other people are doing and be part of that, and not only support, but learn as well. I mean, I believe that people will like host even bigger conferences that would even do better than us, and we can learn from that, and we can support, and we can pour out even in terms of resources. So Women's Month is Women's Month. It's not Women for Jesus Month. So everyone who is within a sister ministry, celebrate, contact us if you need assistance with anything. And yeah, we're just going to have fun with other
Yes,
kids.
we're going to have fun with other sister ministries. So we're almost at the end. What does the next 10 years look like, darling? Are you excited? What does the transition look like?
The next 10 years looks like obedience. All I can tell you is that when it comes to obedience, you can never go wrong. You can be creative, you can be talented, you can have all the resources in the world, but if you are not aligned and if you are not obedient to what God has called you to do, people will come to your event. I said this even in the first session. You will fill up an arena, but still feel an emptiness because you know that wasn't the time and that's not what God instructed you to do. So we are moving at the pace of obedience. That's what we will be doing for the next 10 years. I don't know what God has in store for me, but I've thoroughly enjoyed the first 10, and I can't wait for what God has for us. So far, all I know is that the team will grow. I know we'll interact with more women who will come in with their expertise, who will also be kingdom financiers. Hallelujah. God will bless more women to be millionaires. and yeah, and push the vision and really embody what God is trying to do with women worldwide. So we are still trusting God to impact the global community, not just impact as in have more followers, have more people doing what we do, but impact in that the divine commission. Remember what I said, that's what we want people to actually have. We want people to know Christ. We want people to finish strong. We want people to be on the other side of eternity being glad that they actually heard the voice of God and they listened to God and they lived according to the assignment that he has given them. So that's what the next 10 years, I believe, will look like for us.
The 10 years look like? You said I'm moving at the pace of obedience. Absolutely amazing. I love that. And yeah, so we've been selling merchandise. Women for Jesus has been selling merchandise. I hope people have been buying. I wanna mobile credit.
Ah oui. Mobile credit. The people who registered for the conference got their 10% off discount. It's still on, but until tomorrow. So Chilton you get your discount. August, I'll find a discount when I'm I kere re tswile dilong tsa dikoloto. I mean, so the online store will still be on. We'll be adding more merch. We also are planning on, as you guys remember, we had the live groups last year. Last year we had live groups or cell groups, whatever you call it. It was a form of fellowship and learning about Christ and doing Bible study. So we are actually in the process of launching a devotional. So we're working on a devotional for our global community. And within the next few months, we will have a devotional that will be available online, where the lessons that we've learned during the live groups will be published in that devotional. So yeah, we are very excited about that. It's going to be a mini booklet that comes with your own personalized diary or notepad, whatever you call it. And then you can we had it for 9 weeks. So it'll be 9 chapters of power where people will learn about their assignment and their purpose and their gifts, the same way we've been learning during our live groups. And we'll just be implementing some of the lessons that were shared even in the individual live groups. I mean, we had live groups everywhere. So we're very excited about that. So that's about the only project that's coming up during these last few months of the year. So we are excited about that. We're just in the final stages of just editing, making sure that it's aligned to the Bible and the Word of God. That's very important. So that's the only project. And then we'll also be selling merch when we release the devotional. We'll be selling the life group merch because there was a specific type of branding that went with the life groups that we'll be selling online. So yeah, that's what we have for the next few months.
All right. So the match is still available. So you just have to go to, is there an app for it? Is it on the Women for Jesus? Where do people get the merch after the conference?
So the merch will be on the Women for Jesus online shop. So if you guys remember when you registered for the conference, it was, unfortunately, the app will be disabled as soon as the conference is over, but all of those websites will be active. So our YouTube catch-up channel, where you can watch all of the sessions that we've had since conference started. We also have the online shop where you can get access to all our merchandise for the conference. So those things will be available on our Instagram link, and we'll also on Linktree. So our Instagram Linktree will provide you with a URL to go and access those things. And then also we'll also be sharing on our social media pages in terms of what merch is available. So we're pretty excited about that. So we will have, it's all our items are unisex, but we have also broadened our range to also include men since we had Men's Week. So just look out for links and communication through social media.
All right. So that's how people can get hold of the merchandise. And yeah, so we are 5 minutes away to our next session. Are there people that you want to say thank you to? Your mother, your father, Ntati, your brother? We're giving you the last 5 minutes just to share your heart with the people.
Yeah, thank you so much, family, for supporting Women for Jesus. I promise I won't cry. Thank you for just walking this journey with us. We've seen you go above and beyond for us, not just in the 10 years, but for this conference specifically. Thank you for availing your hours in the evening. We know that evenings are a time to connect with family, but thank you for letting us into your homes. I'd like to thank the team. The team has been so helpful. I'm so grateful for the team that I have. They've really come through with assisting us with prayer, resources, getting the word out. Thank you to everyone who follows Women for Jesus, who's just been sharing on their social media pages. I've been getting texts from the moment the conference started with people saying, how can we help? I also appreciate people who've gotten back to us and actually shared that the conference has changed their lives in some way. I think for me, that's more than enough for me. Thank you for that. Thank you, most importantly, to the speakers. I mean, when we reached out, they were like, what? Of course, we'll be there. Just give us the details. Thank you for preparing, for being obedient to God, for sharing a word that is aligned to the mandate. Thank you for, just the support. Thank you to you as well, Deborah, and the host. You guys have done an incredible job. You've been working twice a week for, to host the ministry and for people to really receive God well. And also how you've structured the questions, how you've dealt with questions that came from the audience. You guys have just been impeccable in your work. So thank you for that. Thank you for the Kingdom Financiers, people who've just put money in and put their money where their mouth is, who've bought merch, who've donated. Thank you so much for that. For me as a leader, what I want and what I believe God has called me for is to raise other leaders. And I never want to be a lid. I want to be a launch pad for people to really experience God in his fullness. So it's an honor for me to even have this platform and be given this opportunity to minister in this way. I'm getting emotional. I need to stop. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you to my parents as well, for really just, I'm getting emotional, for working with me. Thank you to my mom and dad, my siblings. My brother has this thing every time it's around December, because that's when we have event. He always says, Women for Jesus la launch this year. Because it just gets hectic in the house. People, really go all out for us. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Yeah, I'm done. Otherwise, let's go.
Oh man, we are so proud of you. And you know what? We are so proud. We are very, very proud of you. You started this as a teenager and look at the woman that you've become. And someone said here, Gore, you are definitely a launch pad, and I completely agree with that. You have empowered so many women. You have showed them that it's possible. And we are very proud of you. Maputi Mahlaba Ore, we love you, Lebogang Tisane. We love this vision. We love Women for Jesus. Thank you for doing it God's way. We are so proud of you. Ukano robala jwaje. But it's only for a minute. We're only giving you one day to sleep, and then it's back, back to the vision again. It doesn't stop here. It continues, and we are proud of you. We speak the blessing of God over your life, and everything that you are going to start, whatever that He puts on your heart. And we are praying for those kingdom finances to come through and support all the other things that you would love to do. So well done. We are proud of you, and I am handing over to Masibala to continue with Authentic Women of the Year. We are celebrating 3 amazing women. I'm so excited about them. And that is how we're closing off the conference. Over to you, Veroshka.
Thank you, Debo. Oh my gosh, watching you and Lebo, I just have to check in firstly. What a moment of beauty, what grace, what show, like just so much grace. It's been such a beautiful experience to be part of these celebrations and to host this conference. And I can definitely say that it's a watershed moment. So to carry us over into this session, we are also now going to have 3 lovely women with us. These women, since the inception of Women for Jesus has had an award that that identifies key influential women in society, and it was dubbed the Authentic Women of the Year, the Authentic Women of the Year rather. So this evening, I'm just going to read their bios briefly. We have Reabetswe Molapo. Reabetswe is a millennial consultant and founding director of Young Heirs. Young Heirs is aimed at motivating, developing, and enriching young minds. She's also a co-founder at Think Africa, which is a millennial problem-solving platform using tech solutions. Timely fitting. And Reabetswe is passionate about mindset and human capital and influencing the trajectory of innovation among the youth of South Africa. We also have Mapula Legodi, who's joining us this evening. Mapula Legodi is a confidence activator. She's an image shaper, both in coaching and branding. She's a professional graphic designer, and she has been for over 10 years. Mapula Legodi is also Mrs. Polokwane 2020. So we'll also be hearing more from her as we go. And last, we also have Mbali Mthombeni. Mbali is a young woman that holds a BCom financial accounting degree from Northwest University, and she also holds an investment management certificate from London, amongst other investment certificates. She is also the founder of Love in Action, which is a philanthropic organization that is based and aimed at assisting those in need in Cape Town and in Gauteng. So those are the women who are going to be sharing with us their insights this evening. To start, I mean, we've been asking more or less the same questions throughout the conference, but I just want to jump straight in and find out from Mapula Legodi. As we're going into Women's Month as well, Mapula, can you please share with us what are some of the challenges that come with being a leader and a woman in South Africa today?
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Veroshka. Look, as women right now, the biggest challenge is that we are fighting for space, you're not taken serious by you just being a woman. But what I like and what I always advocate for is that we need to fight for those spaces by merits, you know. But the biggest challenge with that is that even if you come with merits, nah, if a guy comes with merits, somewhat, you still have to fight a bit more harder for you to be considered and taken serious in that space. So the challenge that the one that I want to focus on right now is issues of space, issues of opportunities, issues of leadership, that we are fighting for those spaces even if we are good enough, you know. You find yourself in a position where you still have to question yourself whether you are good enough, because someone else just says, because you are a woman, you are not good enough, you know. Because you are a woman, you're not supposed to be strong enough. If you speak boldly, if you speak confidently, you are still challenged to say, no, Ogare, you want to overstep, you want to take power and stuff like that. But we need the power, you know, we need those spaces of leadership. And we are saying to women, let's work on ourselves, you know, let's go out and be amazing, and don't be afraid, because we need to enter those spaces. But what is important is that we need to enter those spaces by merits, not because we are women. So yeah.
Thank you. As you know, as I was reading your bio, I was also quite intrigued by one of the descriptions there, Mapula. It says that you're a confidence activator. I think I'd like to find out from you, what is the importance of, you know, what you do, and how does it shape then you yourself? How did you get into it, and how does it shape those who feed off of that confidence activation ministry that you are putting?
I believe in being your most authentic self all the time. And with confidence, me being a confidence activator, I say, firstly, is ministry beyond the pulpit for me, to say, look, we can enter any space that we want as the church girls, as the church, you know, and have the same impact that we have in the church. And with confidence activation, I'm saying, because I'm doing it, so I'm saying to the people who are watching me to say, look at me as I become, and be influenced and inspired to become you're your most authentic self, and you do what God has called you for without fear, with all the boldness that the Lord has given you. March out and be amazing.
Certainly, certainly. Now, I want to pass the question on to Reabetswe. Reabetswe, could you please share with us what are some of the challenges that you believe or have experienced that women are experiencing in South Africa today?
Yo, Mapula just really touched on a couple of things that, you know, are just blatant, you know, from face value, from the get-go is, let me say, as Black females, you find that we're kind of at the bottom of the food chain from the get-go. And it's not like we decided to be females. It's not like we decided to be Black. I mean, if I had the choice, I mean, I would have asked to be a white male. Like, if God, you know, gave you an option, I would have asked, finish and glad. And you know, the challenging part is there's the patriarchal system that we're living in at the moment, and something that is the biggest challenge that we're facing right now. A challenge that we face as women is because it's like you're dealing with white male, white female, Black male, and then it's us, and then worst of all, we're young. And you always have to try and find a way of voicing yourself. And sometimes when you do voice yourself, it sounds like you're a dude. And yeah, it's a Christian channel here, so I can't say words, but it makes you sound like you're an angry, you know, like the movie of the Diary of a Mad Black Woman. You end up, just to get your voice heard, just to get your idea, you know, brought across, you end up having to be so aggressive, and you end up not becoming this feminine, soft voice that Proverbs 31 expects you to be. And so, yeah, there's this battle in your mind of, Ganti, how am I supposed to act? Habari well poised, what does it mean? Habari Christian girl, what does it mean? And how do I then portray these values that I've been taught all my life into the workplace, into the school place, into the boardroom? I was having a discussion with a friend of mine this past weekend, or just the beginning of this week, and she was saying that she's recently been, elected in a board, and she's the only female there, and they don't regard anything she says. And she's got credibility. She's educated. She's a young Black female, and the male just don't listen to what she has to say, whether it's valid or not, whether it's researched or not, and they just keep boys clap. So these are some of the challenges that, we are saying we need to take up space. And when we do take up space, I feel like it's a burden that God is placing on us. It's not that we want to take up space because it's a grand thing to do, it's a fancy thing to do, it's a nice thing to do. On the contrary, I think what God is calling us to take up space, and I've said this before, especially because we're Christian, to be the voice of the voiceless. Especially because we're Christian, to be able to, when we get to specific places, to use the principles that we've been taught, the kingdom principles, and apply them in those places. And which is a challenge on its own, because not only are you now just a female, a Black female, a young Black female, you're a Christian young Black female, and you're trying to shift this company or shift this organization using these principles that, quite frankly, to the world, they don't make sense. It's the opposite of how they believe this is how business is done. And you're coming through with these philosophies that are biblical, and that's a bit of a wall or a barrier that you end up experiencing. So just in a nutshell, there are various challenges that we face. It's just always the voice. We need more population of ourselves in various places, in male-dominated spaces. I don't know, some of these places are called male-dominated, Ukrai fashion, where the biggest consumer is a female, but male are dominating the industry, from the designers to the to the buyers even, people behind the scenes. So it's kind of like things that we need to think about, especially when we're speaking now entrepreneurship or business. Females, we need to be even cognizant of the positions that we take on. It's sadly a burden, but yeah, so it's a challenge, but God trusts us enough, so I think we should just take on the mantle.
Good. Yes. And how, because I know you work a lot with young people, how does the youth dynamic come into play when it comes to these challenges? You've mentioned that, the challenges are multifaceted. So you're coming in, you're a Christian, you're a woman, how can young people come in and position themselves to navigate better, so to speak?
I didn't get your last part too.
It's okay, I'll repeat. I'm saying, how can young people position themselves with already the dynamics that you've mentioned that are challenging for us as Christians and as women? How can then young people come in and, like, taking from us, then position themselves to navigate these challenges better?
Look, working with young people, that's actually where it all started, because I'm a young person, and because at that point in time, I was a young person. And for me, starting off young is, I think I started it off about 2011 and then officially like 2013. But when it began, it was just about, I was experiencing particular challenges that I didn't want the next person to experience. And so I think the younger generation, what they need to do in positioning themselves is find somebody that is just a little bit more years old. It doesn't have to be like a grown-up adult, but there's just some wisdom in years. So just find somebody that has been or is going through a path that you would like to go through, and kind of latch on that person. Because even with me, it's been and still is a bit of a challenge when it comes to mentorship or being mentored, because I don't know how to explain it, but I wouldn't be able to say that I've been properly mentored. Everything that I've done is just haphazard. Everything that I've done is just been experimentary, etc. And so in order for somebody younger than me to not make the mistakes that I've done, it would be beneficial to wherever you are, fine. If you're going to find Molapo and you really like the movement that Lebu's doing, then jump on her and lich on her, ask her what principles, what governs her, what mistakes she learned, what mistakes she would try to avoid, which is what we would be doing with the older women as well. Try to lynch on them, those that are in the boardrooms, to then ask, what mistakes did you do, Makoko, so that I can avoid that? What decisions did you make? What courses did you do? Because with the youth, it's the whole career. At that phase, it's a whole career decision thing. How does my career link to my purpose? Will I be able to monetize my talents, for example, my giftings? Because God says I have it. If I'm musically inclined, but more, I also enjoy engineering. How do those two worlds merge? Stuff like that. And so it's quite important to have like mentors or whatever that you can engage with and communicate with.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ria. Mbali, I'd like to call you in. What are some of the challenges that you've personally experienced in being a woman in South Africa?
Good evening. Okay. Well, I'm listening to the ladies speak, my co-winners, and I'm literally like, oh, guys, I've been in corporate. Oh, and I'm out of corporate because I've been black twice. First, you black because you black. Then you black because you're female. And having experienced that has literally given me trauma to a point where I was like, nope, I'm not going to do this for my sanity. So there's just a few things. So because the ladies have already highlighted a few other things, there's just these two things that I want to highlight. Firstly, we've been given so many descriptions, right, as a black woman that, oh, baby girl, you're a strong black woman. And maybe it's a matter of in 2 minutes, I'll quickly unpack how this phrase of being a strong black woman has hurt us. You called strong and black because it's a matter of, let's see how much nonsense, let's see how much ridicule you can put up with. Then, sweetheart, you are a strong black woman. And we forget that, but wait, sorry, are we breathing the same air? Sorry, do I have lips, eyes, nose, cheeks? Like, we are all human beings, but no, honey, with you, you are a strong black woman. Whatever abuse comes your way, you need to hold it in because you're a strong black woman. It doesn't matter how you're spoken to. It doesn't matter how you are treated. Baby girl, you are a strong black woman. We speak to our grandmothers, and a simple example, asking them, why did you stay in abusive relationships? Why did you stay? And then 20 years later, you find out that your children have 15 half sisters and brothers. And it's like, because I'm Mbali. And that simple thing that we see is passed down to our mothers, is passed down to us. But I think we are part of a generation that says, nope, it'll stop right there. It's not going to come down to me. And I think the issue, second point that I want to raise is, it's not that we don't have a voice. A lot of people, and this is a term I don't like, that black women, you need to use your voices. The issue is that we've been put on mute. If I'm to mute as I'm speaking right now, you'll see my hand actions, you'll see my lips moving, but the issue is that you don't hear me. So I think that's where the issue is. We are not being heard. We've been fighting, and in fact, we're fighting harder than everybody else just so that we can be heard. We take action. We are trying to take up space, as the ladies have said. We are trying to let our voices be heard, but the issue is that people are literally doing this when it comes to us. In us being black, in us being women, in us being saved black women, because this is an issue that also comes in the church. We cannot be, 20 years into, 20 years into democracy, or 20 plus years, but more than that, we are in the new age church, so to speak, and we're still fighting to speak on platforms in March. This is something I've always said to people, that don't invite me to your church if you want me to speak in August. No, thank you, because my calling is not subjected to a month. If you are going to call me to your church in August, I must have somehow have come in any other month in the year. Because if you not subject my calling to a month, It's like, okay, it's Women's Month, guys. We're giving you the whole of August. Come church choir because it's all women in any case. Come children's church because it's little sisters and little babies. But it's literally a matter of, guys, we're giving you 31 days, 30 days, 31 days to focus on you. And in the rest of the year, don't worry, guys, leave that up to us. You go in corporate, and it's okay. We understand your input. Like, you are a director, you have an MBA, sweetheart, you have a PhD in mathematics, but just sit and be silent. Because as long as we can count you in the stats, as long as we can add our BEE score so that it can become level 1, then we're good. So the issue is that you guys are looking at us as we speak. You're looking at us as we are fighting, which it shouldn't be a fight if we all know our place and we're able to live out our purpose. But instead, this is what's happening. And we are placed on mute.
Certainly. Mbali, I must thank you there because without a doubt, a lot of women who are watching can relate. And, I just sensed, a great deal of strength from your side in sharing that, because it's not easy to keep sharing these stories, these challenges, because at the end of the day, to some people who don't identify with them, they might feel like, if August is coming and it's really not on our timelines, So really, I must thank you for sharing that so passionately. Now, I must also then ask you, how has you being a woman of faith then aided you in navigating some of these challenges? Because faith is a big part of, of the work and of, facing challenges. So I must ask you personally and or generally, how does faith then come into play? In Jesus in particular come into play in making sure that, at the end of the day, after going through all of that as women, as Black women of faith, as young Black women of faith, how do we then come to a place where we're like, okay, I recognize here that my faith is working for me. It is working. Is it working? Is it working? And if so, how has it aided you?
Okay. Well, my faith is a big part of who I am. I think it's very difficult to try and separate myself as Mbalentle, and Mbalentle Apulisizengku, right? So it's very difficult for me to separate the two. Simple example, we grow up in a Christian family, you go to church every Sunday, and then varsity comes and it's like, sweetheart, this is a test now. Like, are you saved for yourself, or are you saved because you're like, I don't want to go to hell, And varsity for that was, for me, it was literally a matter of how serious am I about my walk with God. And, having been involved in SCS, for others it's SCM, for others it's SCO, and being like really involved, being part of the leadership. And I think that's when I was like, okay, this is not just an add-on in my life. It's not, take Kana, I'm Christian. No. It's like, this is my walk with God. This is my journey. And so with whatever role that I've had to play, being in corporate for 3 years, being in varsity for 3 years, it's always been a matter of, but guys, first things first, to a point where in varsity, one of my, it's weird because she was my kid, and then now she's my sister, Lindy, she was actually like, Papa Yamudi, and I'm like, and then people are coming saying, Mamruti crop top. I'm like, guys, why is this Mamruti thing following me? And I've never said, hey, Mamruti, no. But I think the biggest thing of our walk with God is that even without you saying you're saved, we should see it in your character. Even without you saying you're saved, your conduct, how you legit live your life should tell us that you're saved even without you saying it. It's not written on our foreheads. It's not written on our t-shirts that we might wear as, a brand, but it's a matter of how am I living my life in that way. So for me, it's literally always been a matter of I don't have to announce it because of how I've been trying to live my life. Simple example, even in the workplace, I have a group of friends, we have colleagues, and it's literally a matter of, guys, we don't speak like that. And I'm just like, but guys, I'm also part of this conversation, and it's like, hey, but we're not, you're mum rude, so you won't get it. You know, going through high school, my friends, you know, started drinking and stuff, and I'm like, hey guys, what's happening? And it's like, Mbali, you're not part of this. What I'm not a part of? We're biking school today, and we're gonna buy alcohol, so we're not mum rude, so you won't be a part of it. And I'm just like, So I think even with the people that I've surrounded myself with, because I'm sure most of us here, much as we have friends that are saved and women of God, you know, people that are on fire for the Lord, you also have your friends that maybe are still on the path and your friends that are not saved at all. So I think having had that exposure to all people from all walks of life has given me the confidence in that, but guys, you guys know that I'm saved. Whatever it is, you know that I'm saved. And I think it even becomes an easier thing, or then your faith being not tested, but being reassured in your faith that if somebody's going through a challenge, it's an easy thing to say, hey, sis, could you please pray for me? 1, 2, 3. A friend of mine said to me, I was like, guys, this thing is not fair. We're carrying so much. You guys are always texting us saying, hey, we need prayer. We need prayer. What about us? And then she texts me on the side and she's like, Mbali, the issue is, how do we say to you, please give us your prayer request when we know that you've just come from a fire session with the Lord? And I'm like, no, guys, it's not always like that. We too need that support, much as we're able to be the support for people, you know? So I think in our walk with faith, don't separate your faith from who you are. We understand your identity as a human being, but then how do we separate time when we're busy going around saying, in him I live, in him I move and have my being? You're like, hey, but not there. Hey, Lord, we'll meet on Sunday and Wednesday Bible study, but any other day, let me do my own thing, then I'll come back.
Yeah, no, I mean, certainly, you know, there can't be a different, something that we can't separate our identity in Christ. Once you're in, you know. So thank you for sharing that part of your journey with us. Ria, I'm gonna call you back in. I want to find out from you as a leader, how has your faith come in to aid you in navigating some of these challenges that you're facing as a woman in South Africa? Reabetswe Molapo, is she disconnected? Okay, I'll pass the question on to Mapula Legodi. Mapula, if you will please share with us some of your insights as to how your faith has become a pillar for you, if it has worked for you. How have you used your faith to navigate some of the challenges?
Okay, I think for me, my faith has somewhat made it easier to become a culture shifter. It has made it very easy to become a culture shifter because remember, as the ladies have been saying, when you come in as a Christian girl, already you are boxed. You are boxed, you are a woman, you're a Christian. So this is how Christians behave. This is how girls or women must behave. So now I came in within the space to say, I am born again, right? I've got Jesus. Greater that is within me must now reflect in all that I do. So greater that is within me will not be suppressed in certain positions or in certain challenges because someone does not believe I am great, you know? So it says to me, I walk in boldly. When I am challenged or not, I walk in boldly. I walk into spaces boldly, and I easily shift culture because people are like, but that's not how Christians behave, but that's not how, you know, and then you are able to navigate and get people to easily twist and understand that you are a different one, you know, and you came here to change things because you carry a greater God within you, which then says to you, you are very clear as to what you are doing. You are authentic because you view how you do your things through the lens of the author. And if you view the spaces that you find yourself in through the eyes of God and the mandate that He has placed over your life, it becomes easier. The faith then assists you to say, I am aligned to this. And this is what I'm going to do to get out of this challenge, or to navigate my leadership through this challenge. So it has it actually made it very easy for me to shift culture in the spaces that I find myself, and also as a leader and as a woman.
Thank you, Mapula. It's encouraging to hear that faith does work, and you know, it's something that one has tangible fruits of. Is Reabetswe back, Ria?
Maswala, you are on mute as well.
Mapula, thank you so much. It seems Ria isn't back yet, so we still have a few more words to exchange between the two of us and Mbali. So I want to find out from you, because you've held the title of Authentic Woman of the Year from Women of Jesus. What has it meant for you? What does it mean to be an authentic woman?
Okay, look, for me, I've always, I'm advocating for Christians influencers, that we must be intentional about being Christian influencers amongst ourselves, because we have allowed the world to influence us, you know, in their fake things. And we are authentic. I know authenticity because I am of God, you know. I am a child of an author. I am a child of a porter, you know. So from a point of me being built by this great God, I'm then able to say, live a more authentic a life, because I know who has brought me to this earth, who has built me, who has, you know, the greater that is within me. So now we become easily authentic. For me, the position has helped me to say, I intentionally become influential, you know, because I'm presenting a real person, you know, to real people, to say to the people who are faking it, to say, look, you can become as authentic as you can, as you are, you know. You can present Christ as you are. If we present Christ the way you are, we will hear you, and we will understand the Christ that you carry. And because remember, Christ comes in different forms and different ways. That's why I've been also advocating for issues of a ministry beyond the pulpit, that when you are authentic, you get into any space, and people will be able to see that this girl is authentic, because you understand who you are, you understand your worth, you understand whose you are. So when you come into these spaces, we are able to say, to present the most real person to the people, and people read and love into people and love people, and they buy into people. So when people see or you are presenting an authentic you, they buy into you, they're able to hear you, then you are able to minister, because people have bought into what you are presenting, the reality that you are presenting. So the problem is that we stay in spaces where we like being fake, or we want to see what do they want, and you want to give them, but no, who are you? You know, give people who you are, and people will buy into that. Then it becomes easier to minister, because you minister to people by you becoming. You know, you don't have to go, now you're not going out of your way for you to make an impact, to be influential. No, but you are just becoming who you are in Christ, and people are loving that, and people are being ministered unto. So the platform has really also helped me to say, to advocate, and also to inspire other women to say, look, just be real, Miguel, and things will just happen.
Thank you so much for that. Especially because, you know, we are in the age of influence, and if we are not careful, whatever machine is driving influence in society today, we will also be driven by it without even questioning, without even, you know, being aware that actually
Yeah.
there's a machine of influence that has a certain agenda that is trying to drive society. So thank you. We certainly cannot fake authenticity. You can spot an authentic person because we are spiritual beings. I don't know if Ria is back. Ria, are you back?
I'm back, my brother.
Mabebeza, welcome back. We want to find out from you if your faith is working. How has your faith aided you in navigating some of the challenges of being a woman in South Africa?
Yeah, babe, COVID and I'm joking. So like my faith, my faith has been, I think, has been tested, especially by young age. I mean, from what it was in terms of conception phase, I would say that is what most probably has taken me to some of the places that I've been able to go to, meet some of the people that I've been able to meet. I'll remember this one instance. Some years ago, I was nominated by the community to be part of this board, né? And in this board, basically what we were doing is people were applying to get funding from a particular type of place, and some of these forms would come back. I remember one of the people that were in the board, and some of them would have been like taking jojos to approve some of these forms. And at that time, you're the youngest girl there, like I was still 20, actually 22, 23. And kibon tate baba kholo vele babang like wabo that's how they live. And you are there, you don't even know what to say or how to say it, and you want to say, guys, this is not right. According to my faith, you guys cannot be doing this. And then wako buchore faith ya man ke ga go faith yo wa sia rena re tšea brown envelope re nyako di form tše di o feta di o fitlha head office kai. And so you kind of get faced with such challenges, and just your life in general. I sometimes have a tendency of feeling like just our lives as Christians is like extra hard, like extra hard, unnecessarily hard. And sometimes you also kind of feel like you're looking at other friends or other people that may either have a similar vision as you, and they are like proper progressing at levels that you're like, "Aye, man," and you sometimes like there's this internal war. Sometimes you're like, but like, is this faith really worth it? But because I think what the ladies have previously mentioned is it's your DNA. I can't strip myself off from this, and it's not because I grew up in a family of faith. It's not because I went to church every Sunday. I was brought up in that way. At some point, yes, that might contribute, but at some point, it's a decision that you make. It's a covenant that you make with your God based on the relationship that you have. And basically, that's what Christianity is and should be about. It should be about the relation that you have with your God, and what conversations do you have to Him about? Okay, Modimo, ha ke tlo fihla ko di-positioning tse itseng, or ha ke tlo fihla kae. There, I really am there just to kind of become your billboard, and not billboard in terms of advertising or flashiness, but just I would say displaying the grace of God, because some of these opportunities that were granted, that were given, yes, it could be via merit, but like more that is just there, that's just gracing you. And that's just opening particular doors that you can kind of see that I don't think if I was in my faith I would be able to be exposed to such. So for me, my faith plays like a fundamental role. It's like the key. I don't know. Like the ladies have said, I just don't see myself split to say, okay, or faith, or and just being, as you're saying, the question that you've mentioned, how do you navigate? How do you use that within your leadership? The principles that were taught in Kopai Billing, leadership, the Proverbs, the Psalms, for me, my two favorite books is the book of Daniel, mostly because of he became that. He learned how the worldly system or the Babylonian system worked, but then he also concentrated in the Christian values, and he made sure that he didn't deviate from that. And just like what Daniel, there will come a time for us where we're not Chief Justice that kind of situation. Some of us will find ourselves in the future in such, or even in the current, in such situations, and we just need to learn to stand firm in our faith. So much.
Standing firm in our faith. Yeah. And so you've also held the Authentic Woman of the Year award. I think you were the first, am I correct? No. Yeah. What did it mean for you to be an authentic woman? What does it mean for you to be an authentic woman?
Guys, even when I received that, it was, I think even at that time I needed it a lot, because I wouldn't say I didn't feel authentic, but I didn't feel I was worth being recognized. So that particular award kind of, I think it even made me even stand firmer worse. It made me feel like, okay, and the trophy authentic Jesus, Jesus I was sitting ready fine. Mara Jesus. And for me, what it rubber stamped was just the importance of how Jesus is key and central to all of that, because that award was basically just recognizing fine, Reabetswe is authentic and in what she does and how she's perceived as that way. And for me, it's what the two ladies have mentioned before is what you try to do is we're not putting on an act. This is Mapula, this is Lebu, this is who they are, how they are, this is what they were doing. And Soma, the world was just recognizing that this is how they live their lives. And for them for the board to have recognized that for me was like a eureka moment. And what it did for me basically was just made me even stand firmer in my authenticity, to say, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe, this is a dream or one of the visions that I have, and I'll continue to push for it in that character of being authentic, truthful. I guess authenticity to me is being truthful to who you are, truthful to where you are also, and not trying to be pretentious or trying to portray a particular vision of your, a particular picture of yourself. We're all like Mapula saying, we're all becoming. We're in a process, we're being refined. And also that's another thing, is that I will not be perfect. I cannot be perfect. I'm a human being, I'm a trial and error. It doesn't mean that then I must do random things. However, because people are watching you, that puts a more heavier burden. I wouldn't call it a burden as such, but for lack of a better word, but it puts on that responsibility to be like, people are watching you, Ria. People are watching your steps. People are checking you out. So live in your authenticity, live in your truth, live in your faith. That's for me what it means.
Thank you so much, Ria. There's definitely I can identify with the pressure of becoming. When you mentioned the point about as you're going, when you're striving to keep your faith and you're keeping your faith, and you're like, but ish, sometimes the issues of striving to of perfection and looking at your peers, not out of comparison, but just because you're here, I see you. You're not trying to be like, oh, I want to compare, but it is what it is. You see this person and you're questioning. So it's encouraging to hear that faith is the thing that is keeping you steadfast, and it can keep us as long as we are focused on our faith. The Bible also says, keep your eyes on Jesus. Mbalenhle, I want to find out from you what has it meant for you to be an authentic woman, or what does it mean for you personally to be an authentic woman?
Okay. Well, I don't know how much you guys know about the organization I have. quickly, 10 seconds. So Love in Action is an organization that ministers to people that are currently living on the streets. We strongly believe in that. Nobody just wakes up and decides, you know what, I want to go sleep on the concrete for 2 weeks or for 2 days. There's a root cause to all of this. Love in Action is my baby, and for the longest time I kept it so hidden. Like, oof, I'm getting emotional talking about it. But yeah, so Love in Action was literally a matter of, I'm not gonna tell anybody about it. It's between myself, it's between, and I told my parents about it, and it was literally a matter of, okay, how can we support you? Literally from my friends saying, hey, okay, we're gonna give you money, Yana, so that you can, oh guys, sorry, my phone keeps falling. Let me just position it correctly. Okay. Apologies. Okay.
Should I? Do you need a minute to recalibrate, or are you good now?
Yes, I am. Apologies.
Okay. Yes. Tell us more about the foundation.
Yes. So you are literally seeing God's people, and you're like, you know how easy it is for us. You walk past the street, you see someone. Sometimes you're like, hey, I'm not looking, hey, because hey, I'm gonna feel guilty. I didn't give them 20 rand, or I didn't give them bread, or I didn't give them this. Or in fact, I'm not going to give them 20 rand because they're gonna buy drugs with it, you know. And I think that's a mentality that most people have. You're just like, oh, okay, or oh, let's pretend they're not here. But the fact is, there are people. And so when God placed that ministry in my heart, it was literally a matter of, this is heavy. This is not just cooking, you know. We are literally ministering to God's people, you know. And so at the point when this award came, I remember Lebu calling me. I think a few days earlier, I was just like, Lord, this thing is too heavy. At first, I thought it was just, oh, let's chop some veggies, let's cook a warm meal, let's go out into the streets of Cape Town and let's hand it over, let's pray for God's people, let's listen to them, let's minister the word. And I was like, oof, this is a lot to take in. So when the phone call came to say, hey, you've been, okay, you got the award, and I'm just like, huh, wait, what? I didn't understand. And I had all those emotions. For me, it reaffirmed that this is purpose. This is purpose because of how I was feeling at the time, that this is a bit too much. But knowing that, Mbali, not even a matter of you are recognized, but for me, it was a matter of God saying, I've got you. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know you don't want people to know. And in this award coming, or in this recognition coming, I'm trying to connect you with people. I'm trying to connect you with people that need to feed into this ministry, whether it's with their time, whether it's with their talent. And so it really got me to sit down and now start thinking, but what does this authenticity mean? What does it mean to be an authentic woman? And something, or a phrase that we always use as people, especially on these social media streets, hashtag I'm standing in my truth, hashtag I'm walking in my truth. And I think at times that phrase that we use, it's like we want to do whatever it is our hearts want to do, and then come back and just say, oh, hashtag I'm standing in my truth, oh, hashtag I'm walking in my truth, when really, no, we aren't. And so being authentic for me means being steadfast in my calling. I'm going to read to you the definition of what steadfast is. It's resolutely or dutifully firm and unwavering. And when you are firm in what God has called you to do, it means that you are steadfast. It means it doesn't matter what failures may come along. Because thing is, and as Ria mentioned, that it's not that when you say that everything's good, you know, it's not like, oh yes, I'm safe, whew, no problems, no trouble, smooth sailing. Listen, this is not a Titanic boat. No, it's not it. It's life isn't like that. So in being authentic comes, for me, it comes with understanding what it is God has called me to. It's understanding that I need to walk in my purpose without fear, because it's the one thing that we fail to do at times. I think many of us know what God has called us to do, but we're very quick to say, Lord, maybe it wasn't me. Maybe you meant another Mapula. Maybe it wasn't me. Or this just seems like too great a task. And me, my encouragement is that stop trying to ask God to be an extra when He says to you, here's the lead role. Many a times we live our lives in a comparison with somebody else, and we lose focus on what God has called you to do. And my encouragement is a matter of, don't feel like, oh my goodness, no, maybe I'm doing too much. Let me just let me downplay, let me downplay. Yo, Mbali, you are busy. And yo, I'm doing too much. Let me let other people shine. Let me dim my light. You don't need to dim your light with what God has given you the grace to do. And so in this authenticity that we're speaking about, it's about heeding the call. It's about sitting down with your God and saying, but God, what is it really? I don't want to run anymore because I've run and run and run and I don't want to end up like Jonah. Or it's a matter of, let me know what it is you've called me to so that I'm able to heed the call on my life and allow me to be surrounded by people that will encourage me along the way, that will rebuke me along the way, that will motivate me, that will motivate me, that I will be accountable to in my walk with God. Because at times it's nice to be authentic here on social media and, okay, let me tell 1, 2, 3. But at times you have your 3 people that you know that with these people I can be 100% transparent with, and they will tell me that, Sexy, here, this is not the way, you know. For me, truly, authenticity is
certainly, Mbali. I think, thank you so much. Certainly, I think we're experiencing a bit of a delay in our connectivity. So I just want to extend a word of apology to anyone who's joining us at home. I can't imagine that it's comfortable, but we thank you for your patience and endurance with the technology, bazalwane. So Mbali, thank you very much. I think the social media aspect of our lives is another one that I wish we had a whole evening to get into, especially because we are touching on the subject of authenticity. Would be very interesting to go in and really unpack it, but we can't. But I do thank you for sharing that insight. And I'm also curious to find out, because you are working in that space hectically, especially in the area of philanthropy briefly. How can you encourage somebody, because we are faced with our truth, and there's the truth, we have our respective truths out there, my personal truth, and we have the truth, which is our Bible, the Bible, which is our reference and our standpoint. And the issues that like cultural issues, which today we're faced with, I'm reminded as you're talking about it, social media as well. Like how have you navigated, in line with your particular ministry, Love in Action? How have you managed to balance that out with, being in social development and making sure that you stick true to the word of God, and, it doesn't become about the hype at the end of the day, and it just remains purely and intently on, we are focusing on this is the call of God upon my life, and this is how I need to move forward. What advice can you give to someone who's also in that situation, just briefly?
Oh, okay. Don't do it for people. I think many a times, there's that cartoon of someone giving, I believe, somebody that's living on the street, I don't know, food, and then they're taking a picture and they're like, hey guys, let's feed the hungry, practical example. For us, and I think I bless God so much in the people that He's surrounded me with. As I said in the beginning, that not many people even knew that such a thing as Love in Action existed. And very early on, what I'd asked for God was send people, and the Holy Spirit having confirmed that to me, that He's going to send people that are for this ministry. It wasn't a matter of, Mbali, I need you to now advertise and show people and get yourself out there. That's literally only been God. One thing that I would advise somebody is, don't do it for people. If there's a call upon your life, or a similar call, like what the work that we're doing with God's people, God will send people to your ministry. God will equip you. We've literally haven't lacked anything. We don't have any funds, and we've never had any funds at the beginning. And it's literally been people saying, Mbali, but people that I don't even know, like somebody that knows someone that knows someone that knows someone, that was like, hey, I saw you posting something about Love in Action. There you go. If you do it for people, you'll always have to keep appearance, you'll always have to keep the act up. So be true to what it is God has called you to. Don't make it about the hype. Don't make it a social
Thank you
media.
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Beautifully said. I want to pass it on to Ria. Ria, briefly, could you share your sentiments with us in closing? How do you manage to stay authentic in this era of social media?
Life will crowd you, babes. No, I'm just joking. But staying authentically, I think even myself on social media platforms, Mapula is laughing. But basically on social media, I think I can even, if I track down my postings and how I post from, let's say, 10 years ago or whatever, I can even track and see the change. And I don't know, obviously fine, it's because of you're growing older, you're becoming wiser. But I think for me, the spark to actually even learn to be authentic in the postings was because what's the point of the social media? I'm not here trying to keep up a particular image. I'm here to speak my heart. It's just a place for me where I can vent my thoughts. Even these days, nobody questions, just questions. But it's mainly because I think even those questions are questions that I'm asking myself, that I'm having challenges within myself, and that's how I'm kind of transferring my authenticity. Well, I'm confused about this thing right now. Can somebody help me? You get what I mean? So even in the way that I would post or whatever, but it's quite hard being authentic in this day and age when media marketing is saying influencer. It's saying that's what will get you dollars. That's what will get you rands and cents. And when you look at the pictures and how they're portrayed and the lifestyles that people are living, you're like, is this true or is it not? Even those products that they are busy advertising, do they really work? No, it's advertised, it's sponsored by. And so I think with us as Christians, what we just need to do is just, have that revelation of, if you're a Christian and you're using it as a platform, what are you doing there? What's your purpose in you posting that thing that you want to post? Are you trying to attract attention? Are you trying to preach? Even in your preaching, how authentic are you? Or are you just trying to gain traction, trying to gain followers? But oksalayo, just like the Bible says that we'll be able to see the weeds from the plants one day, we will see what's real, what's not. As long as we're not what's true to you, and at the end of the day, babes, as long as you stick to what's true to you, just do that. And if we're now conscious, sharp, continue.
Yeah, certainly. I I like that. Kuzobonakala at the end of the day. Mapula, I'm transferring the question to you briefly. But before I do, I also want to just make a disclaimer to say, we're not bashing social media or anything like that. We really appreciate, all the ways that we can use it as a tool to benefit and to push the work of God and the work of the kingdom. So, but it's also important for us to keep asking, because authenticity is important. So, Mapula, if you could briefly, how have you transferred your authenticity with the use of social media, and is it important to do so?
Look, I'm always a person of intentions, right? And I was very intentional with, firstly, my personal brand. Who am I? And what are we doing? Mapula and God, what are they doing? What are they about? What is Mapula about? And I've always been very intentional about aligning everything that I do to who I am and around my personal brand. And I've been very careful to use social media in a manner that you find me in my house, that's who I am, everything I post there, it's exactly who I am. And for me, the fact that I am very aware and conscious of my personal brand, and it makes it easier for me to be authentic and consistent in who I am. The things that I post on social media is Mapula at her house, chilled on her couch. It's Mapula at work. It's Mapula at church, and Mapula everywhere. So I make sure that if you can go and check my posts and everything, if I'm going to talk, I'll believe in, do not be shy in pushing who you are, right? Don't be afraid to, I think Mbali mentioned it, like, don't be afraid to be too much. because there's also a post that is going around that says you will inspire others and you will annoy others. So now we are now intentional about inspiring those we want to inspire, right? And when you are intentional about inspiring those you want to inspire, you make sure that you feed them what you want them to know. And I want us as Christians to also understand that space, to say sometimes we want to be humble in spaces and we lose on the impact that we can have in certain spaces if we applied certain principles. So we need to come into a place where we understand, where do we apply humility and where do we use wisdom of a serpent for us to make an impact, you know? So for me, I've been very conscious around that space to say, where do I apply wisdom, you know? And what is wisdom at which time, in which season? And wisdom will then dictate, or according to who we are, this is what is aligned to who we are. And this is how we can push this because this is aligned to who we are. And this is consistent to who we are, because we you know, when you are you continuously push what the Lord has put in your heart. Sometimes you are not even aware when the Lord opens certain doors for you to, and after I entered that door, you're like, oh God, you are clarifying that which you were saying the other day. And I've seen that happening through social media, how people would we impact people even in just being me. Because now, like, I've been very careful to say, this is Mapula, and I'm not afraid to say this is Mapula, and I present Mapula in a manner that is consistent to Mapula in every platform. So in us being authentic and pushing authenticity, we need to first sit with the Lord and understand our worth, understand who we are, understand our mandate, the mandate of the Lord upon our lives, and it becomes easier to push the mandate of the Lord aligned to who we are, our personalities, our passions, and everything. It becomes very easy for you to be authentic because our ability, it becomes easier, or you move. And look, I'm not saying it's going to be very easy all the time and people will receive you. Maybe sometimes you want to push a certain thing and people don't receive it that way. But like I say, as Christian, in us shifting culture also, we need to say we can't be boxed. Let's not box ourselves, because sometimes there is something beyond that box. If you break out of the box, you might see something amazing. But what is important is that it needs to be consistent with who you are. The mandate of the Lord upon your life and how you push it out will be amazing and very real and genuine.
Thank you so much, Mapula. Certainly a very dynamic line of conversation. I hope that as you're watching from home, you are receiving what you need to receive, and in order to help you, navigate this path. I mean, we are hectically in the era of social media, and we are not going back. We are still reclaiming our space as Christians as well in pushing God's agenda. We are here, and we are here to stay. So, ladies, thank you very, very much, and thank you to our host, my co-host Deborah and Lebo earlier in the first session. I'm closing by quoting the founder of Women for Jesus, Lebogang Tisane. Earlier, she said, first of all, use what you have to start. And she said, Oskadira manga, dilo tsa modimo ga di nyake manga. And translation is focus. Focus. Move at the pace of obedience, and lastly, so we thank you at home for the journey of Women for Jesus. Please follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. You'll be able to catch up, and be on the lookout when it comes. And thank you so much. I'm closing. Good night.
Can you guys hear me?
Hey,
Yes, we
Lebo.
can hear
Yay.
you.
We're here.
Connection today, I'm bored, but
Was it doing the feedback thing? What's a kabaka khanike phone? Katima phone, guys. I connection ya ba motla
but it's fine. You did a great job, ladies. Thank you so much for sparing your time for Women for Jesus. We really appreciate you. As authentic women, you are speaking to a wide audience of people who are really inspired by you guys. I just want to share a side note. When we got our authentic women of the year nominations, every time we get them from people who nominate you, they say such positive things about you. Before even writing the profile, there's already like, I met this lady this way and I've seen really God through Bophelo ba gagwe and all of that. And for us, that's side note, that's how we pick authentic women. It's not just based on the profile, but the impact that you guys have in the community and how women receive you when you speak, not with your accolades, but just as who you are within the body of Christ and who you are as in your personality and everything that makes you you. So we really appreciate you. You guys have just been instrumental in shaping a lot of journeys. Really done with the training.